Hello and welcome to HBM's Crypto-Corner for Wednesday, April 20th, 2022. We have a few things to talk about, so let's get started. First of all, the Ohio Bigfoot Conference has experienced a change in speakers. Lauren Coleman will not be there because of impending health issues. However, a guest who was going to be a guest there has stepped up to be a speaker. That's none other than Adam Davis. That should be a good presentation. And by the way, to answer your question, Nick, yes, I'm going to be at the Ohio Bigfoot Conference. But I think you kind of figured that out already. But yeah, I'm going to be at the OBC. Should be a great time. Looking forward to it. That's why I'm going to be on the road next week. So I'm going to be on the way to the OBC. That's why there will not be an HBO's Crypto-Corner next week. Now here's something interesting. New research casts doubt on ivory-billed woodpecker's suspected extinction. An intriguing new study suggests that, rather than being extinct, the famed ivory-billed woodpecker may actually still be alive in remote parts of the Louisiana woodland. The remarkable findings are reportedly the result of a decade-long project wherein a team of researchers captured what they contend to be proof for the bird's continued existence. Last officially seen by scientists in 1944, the sizable creature had been deemed endangered until last year, when the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service declared it to be extinct. However, a newly published paper detailing the Louisiana project has cast considerable doubt on that conclusion. The ambitious endeavor saw researchers utilize trail cameras, drones, and on-site expeditions within an unspecified area of the bottomland hardwood forest of Louisiana in search of the elusive bird. Aviary conservationist Steve Latta, who led the project, revealed that every member of the team managed to catch both a glimpse of the bird with their own eyes and also heard his highly unique call. Recalling his own sighting of the creature, he marveled that I was visibly shaking afterwards. You realize you've seen something special that very few people had the opportunity to see. Beyond those field observations, the researchers contend that they have fairly solid proof of the bird's existence via photos captured by their trail cameras, which were placed in strategic areas where it was suspected that the hard-to-find creature had been seen or heard. While the images are admittedly difficult for a layperson to decipher, since they seemingly just show the silhouette of a sizable woodpecker, the team's expert analysis of the creature's shape and characteristics compared to other species of birds known to reside in the region indicates that, in their opinion, the animal in the picture is the quote-unquote extinct ivory-billed woodpecker. As of now, the paper detailing the team's research has yet to be peer-reviewed, although a biologist who previously embarked on his own quest to find the legendary bird called the findings very interesting and posited that the creature photographed by the trail cams was probably the ivory-billed woodpecker. It remains to be seen whether or not the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service will change their assessment of the animal's status, though one suspects that more tangible evidence may be needed to fully convince scientists who believe that the bird is no longer with us. At the very least, it should inspire additional expeditions and then research from other parties interested in proving that the woodpecker still exists. So, we have something quite fascinating here. Could the ivory-billed woodpecker still be out there in Louisiana, even after being declared extinct? It's a good possibility. Extinct sometimes isn't as final as it sounds. Day trip to Loch Ness. It was a quick trip to the loch this Sunday as I got up at 6:30 in Edinburgh and arrived at the village of Inverrigag by about 10:30. Surprisingly, I was greeted by patches of snow around the underlying villages, though the lock seemed pretty clear. I also had to dodge an unusual number of cyclists until I realized the Loch Ness E-Tape cycle race was coming soon. There was plenty of practice runs going on. They basically consisted of watches from four areas. The first was near the wall, which is less than a mile on from an infrared gauge, a parking spot where I sometimes like to watch the lock from. The lock's surface was pretty calm as the sun occasionally broke out from the clouds, but it stayed dry. From there, it was a drive of a few miles to the second spot at Whitefield on the beach where Lachlan Stewart took his famous three-hump photograph in 1951. I walked for a long distance south, crunching through myriads of pebbles, keeping an eye on the lock, but also the low-lying branches that sprouted towards the lock. There was what looked like a big black water tank lying on the beach. Did it come from the road or from the lock? It was a bit hard to say either way. I suspected it was fly-tipped from the road and rolled down the short hill. Either way, it is a shame that rubbish is too often encountered on the beaches. Driving onto the outskirts of the northernmost village of Dores, I disembarked again with camera and binoculars for a walk along the southern side of the beach, heading back the way I had come from towards the salmon farm. Everything was set up for photographing an appearance, but the old girl would not oblige. By the way, here are some tales from the salmon farm, as told by Allie McLeod on Steve Feldham's Facebook page, Here and Here. The salmon farm has had some monster stories over the years. It was not long after this blog started that I covered the interesting picture taken by John Rowe. The annotated picture below shows the two protuberances to the left, the shadowy water, and my impression of the back. All speculation, of course, but they certainly were not two birds bottoms up. Some suggest this place should be crowded by Nessies trying to get at all those salmon. The only problem with that is the fish are impossible to nab, but I always fancied this was a good TV spot for a CCTV or a webcam. It was then on to Dores, and I grabbed the camera and binoculars again and went for a walk along the southern part of the beach. I went down almost as far as the salmon farm, but nothing showed despite the ideal conditions for a surfacing. With that, I drove on and parked by the Dores Inn and walked along the top part of the beach as far as Tor Point. The forest there has been landscaped to allow tourists and locals to walk along a nice path around the point and onto Aldori. It was a pleasant walk with various points from where you can go straight to the shoreline. I stopped at one such place and conducted the final watch opposite a point close to Loch Inn, picture below. A white cruiser made its way along the opposite shore, and the background hills gave the odd impression of being made of two parts with a split down the middle. It was near this walk that the local gave me an account of their signing with a friend back in August 2018, and one of their sketches is below. I chatted with them, but they wished anonymity, which makes me wonder how many sightings are like this because of the perception they may get from skeptics. As an aside, I had trouble finding the above 2018 report and had to look through the annual reviews, which I have now updated to 2021, that are useful as kind of an index for events since 2012. On the way back, I checked in with fellow monster hunter Steve Feldham, who was working on his models. We chatted through the issues of the day, such as webcams, the salmon farm, and other recent events. I have to agree with Steve that the webcam is done once the paddleboarders came forward as some alleged mysterious objects. I would just say to anyone using this underpowered webcam to do some calibration and present clips or images of what you identify as known objects, be they boats or otherwise. With those provided, they can be compared against what is claimed as unknown. But to this day, no one down below has corroborated any of these images, so case closed for me. However, we hope for better, shinier, whizzier webcams for all those budding remote hunters to move over to. Just so expect the same number of mystery hits, people. With that, it was back on the road south and the expectation that I'll be back up next month for an extended visit. Good luck to all those who endeavored to capture images of that elusive monster in the months ahead. So just kind of a general update on the Loch Ness Monster mystery and what one group is doing to try and maybe solve the mystery, or at least get some high quality images, I suppose. And that's going to do it for this week. Well, thank you very much for tuning in. You guys are the heart of the show, and I'll continue to do this as long as you guys want me to. And I'm going to have videos from the OBC up, hopefully during the Ohio Bigfoot Conference, but if not, it'll be after the Ohio Bigfoot Conference. I may just wait till then and then just edit everything together. But there will be videos from the Ohio Bigfoot Conference once that is finished and everything. So, until 2 weeks from now, y'all be good or be good at this HBM's Crypto Corner.